Question one was asking about environmental forces and providing examples within the Niagara region. The first environmental force for me is like the economic state of the Niagara region. Because of this, we'll see greater or larger attendance due to the fact consumers will have um, more or less disposable income, which will directly correlate with attending games. Um, the next is societal trends. A big one I've seen is in youth minor hockey, especially females, which if your kid is in minor hockey, there will be a more likely chance that they will attend games for a local sport team like the Niagara Ice Dogs. The same idea or philosophy could be applied to like basketball and the Niagara River Lions or the Welland Jackfish. I'm just not familiar with youth basketball or youth baseball like that. Question two is discussing about fan identification and increasing fandom. So there's three levels, starting with the low level, also known as social fans. They're just there for the experience. They don't really have an investment to the team. They see it as more of a night out compared to going to watch the Leafs and Bruins play. Medium is that second tier. They can be identified as more focused fans. This is a group of people who care and do follow their team, but they're a step below obsession and being a diehard fan. And that leads me to the third category where we do classify it as high or diehard fans. These fans obviously have a deep emotional investment with the team. They're willing to do kind of crazy stuff like travel to away games or whatnot. An example of increasing fandom that I have here is last year I got to attend a Raptors game for my mother's birthday. We all know Toronto's kind of like a melting pot city. The game I happened to go to was their Caribbean Heritage Night. Obviously, that's an attempt to attract people of that heritage to the game, to have them come and watch and become a fan, and then hope that fandom sticks with them. And to my knowledge, there's no one really in the organization of Caribbean descent that would have that. So I thought that was interesting. Question three is talking about the differences between sports and other forms of entertainment. So I have I have three things here. Unscripted outcomes, so we don't know the result, unlike a play of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. You're gonna know what's gonna happen in that. I mean, at the local level, everyone puts their different variation on it, but in sport, you don't know the outcome at puck drop or at tip off or whatnot. Number two is emotional investment. Fans get attached to these teams. Just the play example, I don't know anyone that's gotten attached to Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. And finally, active participation is the third one I have for this. Fans get to wear merchandise and hats and shirts and whatnot, and that attaches their fandom at a deeper level and gets them to feel like they're a bigger part of the organization, or at least how they're supporting the organization. Obviously, I haven't seen anyone walking around with a Christmas Carol T-shirt, but I've seen plenty of Leafs gear and whatnot in my time in Ontario, so that's a aspect. There's also rivalries. This isn't really in other forms of entertainment. I haven't seen anyone really get into a heated battle between or create a rivalry between Star Trek and Star Wars. So, question four is discussing a SWOT analysis, and of Ford's return and what a SWOT analysis is, which it is a tool that lets you evaluate a company or project strength, weaknesses, their opportunities, and their threats. Those are the 4 corresponding letters to go with the acronym. For Ford specifically conducting a SWOT analysis here, the strength is they're joining a really successful team recently. They're an American brand, and there's been a huge amount of growth in the Americas because of the Netflix series for the most part. Weakness is their lack of recent Formula One experience, and they're picking up from the top where their former supplier Honda is left to go to Aston Martin. So there's gonna be a learning curve and growing pains. Opportunities, I kind of mentioned it before, is the growth of Formula One in the US and the globalization, and how that's gonna impact Ford's sales as a marketing tactic, and will likely help them in their becoming a more sport performance brand, or increasing how they are looked at when it comes to sport performance. Threats, I also kind of mentioned this earlier with Honda and Aston Martin. Strong competition from other teams performance-wise, and the other suppliers like Honda. They lost the Constructors' Championship this year, so you already kind of see that performance-wise. It's also a cutthroat sport. If this transition between Ford and Red Bull Racing is not seamless, I doubt that partnership will last that long. They kind of need to get it right, otherwise they might risk falling back into P3 in the constructors, P3, P4, which they obviously don't want to do after winning 2 constructors titles, 4 drivers. Question 5 is discussing the unique traits of the sport industry. The first trait I have is the emotional connections that we've talked about a bit through this video. Fans are able to emotionally connect in the sport industry, which this can lead to lifelong loyalty to these teams and a lifelong connection. I also talked about unpredictability, but that is my second trait. There's no guaranteed outcomes. It's an unscripted event. No one would have really picked the Ramblers going to the Final Four, or St. Peter's going to the Elite 8. It is almost March, so that's my example. Number 3, it's a live fixed product. Live games can't be stored on groceries in the back room, like manufactured goods. Once it's happened, it can't happen again. If it's not sold out, that's just lost revenue. That's just how it's going to be. Number 4 is the social and cultural influence. We kind of seen this with hockey in Canada and the 4 Nations. It has a massive social and cultural influence. You can have the whole nation backing you up. It shapes the national identity here, specifically in Canada. And my last trait is revenue sources. Sport can have multiple income streams for like a private or like an owner-owned for-profit sport team is what I'm trying to say. They can have tickets, broadcasting, sponsorships, and merchandise. When you don't get that many other sources in other industries. Question 6 is discussing moving beyond pink it and shrink it, and to cater to the growing female market. Originally, they moved away from pink it and shrink it because it made them feel different and took away the sense of community that they would feel at games from being different or wearing something different. So it doesn't appeal to everyone in the general sense. Not everyone even likes pink. So um, they kind of just figured out that they should be treated as like a normal consumer as well. Obviously, that make them clothes that fit, but have that aspect of still feeling in the community. To cater this growing market going forward, larger investment in women's sport and greater media coverage. I think the media coverage is the bigger one. I've seen like just clips of PWHL. That's hockey's more my interest, so I can't speak for other leagues. But if I went into a bar or like for like a sports grill for dinner and whatnot, and they have a PWHL game on the TV, which is unlikely. I haven't seen one yet, but I would sit down and watch that, and who knows, maybe I'd stick as a larger fan and develop a fandom and attachment to these teams, because from the clips I've seen, I've been really interested in how it goes, but I just don't think there's as many as large as a media coverage as there should be for that league in specific. Question 7 is discussing the basis for market segmentation. So we have demographic, which is discussing age and gender, like how the NBA markets differently to their Gen Z consumers over their, I think old heads is like a basketball term, or like boomers. The second one is socioeconomic. So we're talking about income, education, and occupation, like PGA Tours and marketing to low social class people. Like they don't go out and have a McDonald's partnership, which obviously is like a cheaper restaurant, which is where a lower social class is more likely to purchase food out from. We have geographic. So we're talking about world, like the country region, and physical climate. Like a poor example of marketing and not taking that into account, I think, is the Paul Skeens card. The Pittsburgh Pirates offering stuff for the Skeens card. If the person that found it's in Seattle, the 30 years of home plate season tickets doesn't really matter to them. We have psychographic, which is lifestyle and interests, like Nike targeting fitness conscious consumers. Behavioral is usage and loyalty rates, like the English Premier League offers different levels of memberships, such as season ticket holders and different match day buyers for casual fans. Lastly is benefits. So it's consumer needs and sport-based products and desires. The NFL is a good example, where they have Red Zone for people that want nonstop action and full coverage and just watch the highlights. Me myself, I'm more of a like full game broadcast person, where I watch a more in-depth coverage of the team of your choosing. Question 8 is talking about diversion from everyday life and fan attendance. Diversion from everyday life is coming from the eustress, which is provided by these games. This allows fans to get that feeling of being outside of everyday life. They get this when they're watching or attending the games. And the react, which can directly correlate to fan attendance. If I feel good watching this game because of that eustress, I'm more likely to attend another game because I have this good feeling about myself, or good feeling, and it's distracting from my everyday life. Question 9, bonus, as I'm running out of time. My favorite part is when we discuss understanding the consumer and how they think. I think that part's kind of cool, understanding the person you're trying to sell to. I also like that creating these videos. I actually think that's kind of a more fun way to do things, opposed to writing papers and whatnot. Least favorite part, I don't really have any. I'm not that big of a critic. I just don't like doing school. So I know every prof has their constraints. I think this is a really well done class.